Have you ever noticed that some people are almost impossible to manipulate? No matter how persuasive someone is, no matter how much emotional pressure, guilt, flattery, or fear is used, these people somehow stay mentally calm and emotionally aware. And strangely, manipulators often dislike them. Why? Because manipulation only works when someone can control your emotions faster than you can understand them. But psychologically strong people interrupt that process. They pause. They observe. They think before reacting. And that changes everything. You see, most manipulation doesn't happen through logic. It happens through emotional triggering. Fear, guilt, urgency, approval, attention, sympathy. Manipulative people know that if they can control your emotional state, they can often control your decisions. But people who can't be manipulated easily usually have one powerful psychological trait: emotional self-awareness. They notice what they're feeling in real time. They recognize pressure. They recognize guilt tactics. They recognize emotional games. Instead of instantly reacting, their brain asks, "Why do I suddenly feel pressured right now?" That single question breaks manipulation completely. Another fascinating trait is this: these people are comfortable disappointing others. Now think about how rare that is. Most humans are deeply controlled by the fear of rejection. They want approval. They want harmony. They want to avoid conflict. And manipulators understand this perfectly. That's why emotional manipulators often use phrases like, "If you really cared about me," "After everything I've done for you," "I guess I just don't matter to you." These statements create guilt pressure. But psychologically strong people understand something important. Love and guilt are not the same thing. So instead of automatically surrendering to emotional pressure, they step back and evaluate the situation rationally. Another reason some people resist manipulation is because they have strong internal boundaries. Boundaries are psychological filters. They determine what behavior a person accepts and what they refuse to tolerate. People who lack boundaries often absorb everyone else's emotions, expectations, and demands. But people with healthy boundaries understand. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's necessary. And because of this, manipulators often see boundary-driven people as cold, difficult, or hard to control. But in reality, they're simply emotionally disciplined. There's also a deeper psychological pattern most people never notice. People who are easy to manipulate often desperately need validation. They fear losing relationships. They fear being disliked, so they sacrifice their own judgment to maintain emotional approval. But people who can't be manipulated easily usually base their self-worth internally instead of socially. They don't constantly need outside approval to feel secure. And that emotional independence makes manipulation much harder. Now here's where it becomes really interesting. Highly perceptive people also pay close attention to patterns instead of words. Manipulators often sound convincing in the moment. But emotionally intelligent people watch consistency. Does the person's behavior match their words? Do they only act kind when they want something? Do they create confusion, pressure, or emotional instability repeatedly? Because psychology teaches us this, patterns reveal truth faster than promises do. And perhaps the most powerful trait of all is this: people who resist manipulation are willing to tolerate temporary discomfort for long-term peace. They can say no. They can walk away. They can handle awkward silence. They can survive being misunderstood. Most people can't. That's why manipulation works so often in human relationships. Not because people are unintelligent, but because emotional discomfort feels psychologically painful. So manipulators exploit that discomfort. But emotionally aware people learn something life-changing. Short-term guilt is often the price of long-term freedom. And maybe that's the deepest truth of all. The people hardest to manipulate are usually the people who spent years learning how to understand themselves. So here's the question. Do you think most manipulation works because people are emotionally weak, or because humans naturally fear rejection and conflict? Write your honest opinion in the comments below. And if you enjoy deep psychology and human behavior content that changes the way you understand people, subscribe now for more videos like this.